would like to share a little bit on buildings and church buildings and other institutions and establishments in the town of Mutare and the city of Mutare. Now, some of this we have already mentioned, but since we're dealing with buildings and institutions and establishments in the town of Mutare and the city of Mutare, perhaps we can mention again a few of the buildings and the years in which they were founded. So the first church building in Mutare, in present-day Mutare, was along 5th Street, Mutare, in 1899. And there was also a priest's house built beside the church building. And the second church building was on E Avenue, behind the former Carmelite Priory, 3rd Street, the Church of the Holy Rosary, 1926. The third church building, also used as a hall and school, was St. Robert's, present-day Paulington, Mutare, on the Chimani Road. And there was also a priest's house built on the same site in 1930. Dominican Convent and School, the present Dominican Convent and School, 1937. And Drumfad, the bishop's house, was purchased by the prefect apostolic, Monsignor Lamont, as a residence for the administration of the future diocese, 1954. The next building was the Carmelite Priory on 3rd Street, Mutare. This building accommodated the Carmelite commissary, the Carmelite community, and the parish clergy resided at the priory for about 30 years, and that was built in 1954. The priory, as we know, was a house of fraternity. Carmelites and clergy who wished to learn the Shona language stayed at the former priory in Mutare. Carmelites and clergy who visited Mutare stayed there also. It was a house of hospitality. Carmelites, clergy, family members of the brethren and friends also stayed at the Carmelite Priory in Mutare. Meetings and courses also took place there, and the Carmelites vacated the Carmelite Priory during December of 2022. The next building was the parish hall built beside the Church of the Holy Rosary and the Carmelite Priory, and we have mentioned that before, and that was 1955. Marymount College, Mutare, was built in 1957. And St. Joseph's Hospital was developed during 1958. And the church building was completed in 1961. And the parish was transferred from St. Robert's to St. Joseph's. And the primary school was built later. And then we have St. Martin's Hall and Church. And St. Martin's Hall and Church was served by the cathedral clergy residing at the Carmelite Priory in those days. Dangamvura was served by the clergy of St. Joseph's Mission. The Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity was completed, blessed, and opened during July of 1971. And the administrator's residence in the cathedral grounds was completed during 1998. So just to give a little background now, a little more background to all of those buildings that we have mentioned so far. The first Catholic church building and priest residence in Umtali town was 1898-1899. In 1898, a site was purchased by Father Joseph Ronchi, S.J., Jesuit, the priest in charge at that time. The site was opposite the side entrance to the Holy Trinity Cathedral at the corner of the present-day 5th Street in Mutare. Firstly, Father constructed a presbytery, a priest's house, made up of wood and iron materials. Secondly, a wood and iron church measuring 34 foot by 15 feet was constructed and opened on the 1st of October 1899. The construction of the second church building in Umtali town on E Avenue took place during 1923 and 1926. The foundation stone was laid on the 15th of April 1923, and the Church of the Holy Rosary was solemnly opened on the 11th of April 1926. Father Marconis, S.J., Jesuit, and a noble band of parishioners was responsible for the building of the church. The church accommodated about 150 people. The Church of the Holy Rosary served the Catholic faithful in Umtali Mutare from 1926 to 1971. On the 11th of the 7th, 1971, the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity was blessed. Then, from 1927 to 1930, Father Henry Quinn, S.J., erected a multi-purpose building which was used as a church, hall and school for many years to follow. During the same time, he built a small priest house on the same site, and the site became known as St. Robert's, which was just beside the present-day Moffat Hall. The Jesuit fathers served the community in the Umtali area, both at the Church of the Holy Rosary and at St. Robert's for many years, and were replaced by the Carmelites, Father D. Lamont and Andy Wright, on the 17th of March, 1950. The Carmelite Priory, the corner of 3rd Street and E Avenue in Mutare, 1954. Father James O'Shea came to Rhodesia during 1954 and was responsible for the building of the Carmelite Priory on 3rd Street in Umtali. The Priory has served many purposes over the years. Firstly, as a Carmelite community house, a residence for parish clergy, a place of hospitality for the brethren and visitors. The Priory had 8 bedrooms, an oratory, 2 parlours, a community room, refectory, kitchen, and a laundry room. The Carmelite Priory in Mutare. The blessing of the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity took place on the 11th of July, 1971. At that time, the parish clergy resided at the Carmelite Priory in Mutare. Around 1983, the parish clergy moved to a temporary residence near the cathedral, and during 1998, a permanent residence for the parish clergy was constructed in the cathedral grounds. Further investigations, developments on a new location of a Carmelite Priory community in the city of Mutare. Father Tom Power, Carmelite, was elected commissary provincial during 1982. And during 1983, Father Tom and the members of the commissary council were interested in a property in Mutare with a view of a new location of residence and administration for the Carmelites in Mutare and in Zimbabwe. A property was acquired, but was never occupied by the Carmelites. Shortly afterwards, the old church on E Avenue, beside the priory, was demolished to make room for parking space for the brothers. Alterations were made to the hall area beside the priory, which provided further accommodation and meeting space for the brothers. Tom had a larger plan for the priory area, but he never lived to see his dream come true. He died during 1984. Informal commissariat meetings over the years, the possibility of a new location for the Carmelite Priory community in Mutare was often discussed by the brothers, as many felt that the former residence was becoming unsuitable for Carmelite community living. During the year 2022, the Commissary Provincial, Father Simplicio Manica, and the Commissary Council members considered the possibility of a new location of residence and administration offices for the Carmelites in Mutare and in Zimbabwe. Their proposals were forwarded and considered by the Provincial and Council in Ireland. The following extracts are taken from the provincial notes of the 5th of the 10th, 22, Commissariat Platform of the 12th of October, 22, and Commissary Notes of the 1st of December, 2022, and Provincial Notes of the 21st of December, 2022. And these are quotations from minutes of their meetings. Not minutes of their meetings, but notes from their meetings. The Carmelite Priory Mutare, a request from the Commissary Provincial and Council for the sale of the Priory Mutare was received by the Provincial Council. This request follows much discussion and planning on the part of the brothers in Zimbabwe. There was an acknowledgement of the necessity and wisdom of this decision. Having reviewed the request and ascertained that all due diligence had been carried out, the Provincial Council has formally agreed to the disposal of the property pending all necessary approvals. Following on from the decision, permission was granted to the Commissary Provincial and Council to purchase a property in Mutare that will meet present and future needs of the Commissariat. The brothers have identified a possible property in Mutare and are currently carrying out the necessary due diligence, including valuations, structural surveys, and checking of deeds. Another quotation: "Greetings, brothers. It is with great joy to announce that the Commissariat has purchased a new property in Mutare, where the new priory will be situated. The new priory will be in Fairbridge Park." Another quotation: "Mutare Priory. For quite some time now we have been battling with the idea of moving out of Mutare Priory as it has become unsuitable for a Carmelite community. We are grateful that we managed to dispose of the priory and at the same time acquire a new property in Fairbridge Park, 3 Shelley Avenue. We had to do some renovations to the property. The priory community will be moving to the new priory end of this month. The property has at present 4 rooms, and work has started already to build 4 more rooms, together with 2 offices and a boardroom, as an extension to the existing building." And lastly, the last quotation: "The recent closure and sale of the Carmelite Priory at 3rd Street, Mutare, ends over 70 years of presence in the city centre of Mutare. Over these years, the Priory served as a place of warm and generous hospitality, centre of administration, outreach and ministry to the local community. The many brothers who lived in the Priory over these years welcomed countless visitors from Ireland, Zimbabwe and beyond, and made them feel at home while offering respite and renewal. The commissariat has purchased the property 3 Shelley Avenue, which is in the Fairbridge Park area of Mutare, and have established Our Lady of Mount Carmel Priory community. They moved to their new residence last week. We pray that the community will be blessed in their new home. The finance raised from the sale of 3rd Street has enabled the brothers to purchase their new community residence in Mutare and have funds available for other key developments in the commissariat, including the refurbishment of St. Alois, thereby enabling a community to live there. And that's from Provincial Notes, the 21st of the 12th, 22. So, following on now from what we have just said about the old Priory and how we lived there for the 70 years and how the Priory served so many. But the day came and the brothers made their decision. And then on the 9th of December last year, 2022, Bishop Horan deconsecrated the chapel, the oratory in the old Priory, because all oratories and chapels have to be consecrated to be initially. So Bishop Horan and the community and the Carmelites, it was the Priory oratory was deconsecrated on the 9th of December 2022. And then the new residence on Shelley Avenue in Fairbridge Park was blessed and officially opened on the 21st of February 2023. So we wish the brothers well now in their new residence, and we thank the Lord for all the blessings received in the old residence, and we ask our God to be with all the brothers and all the sisters and all who come to the Priory on Shelley Avenue.